Hi, so it is week 5 of How to Be an Anti-Racist Reflections. And so that means that we read chapters 8 and 9, which are behavior and color. And what stood out to me most definitely was the color chapter. Just because I have a lot that I can relate to with the color chapter. He begins by talking about trying to look more white. He talks about buying color contacts and how he was envious of his friends that were biracial and had biracial traits. And how, like, there was definitely a deeper meaning there. Like, he definitely wanted something deeper than, different colored eyes, obviously. And he states what he wants as, I wanted to be black, but not look black. This is something that I almost feel the opposite about sometimes. Well, not the opposite. I'll take that back. I have never looked Indigenous. I will never look Indigenous. My mom had red hair growing up. My dad had blue eyes. And the only thing about me that you can tell is Indigenous is my nose. And there's like a rumor that if you have a white parent and an Indigenous parent, you get curly hair. So I get asked probably once a month if I am biracial. And when I get asked that, I just I'm very thrown off. Granted, this only really happens in the summer, but I don't know how to answer it, because I feel almost as though I can't say that I am biracial because I look white, and I have all the privilege that comes with being white. Well, I have all the privilege that comes with looking white. And so he's talking about creating himself as like this more white ideal, and I understand. I understand that I walk through my life as a white passing person with a lot more privilege than a lot of my relatives do. But the other thing I would think would be interesting to talk about a little bit more is the unconscious desire to look more white, not even, take the privilege out of it, take being racially conscious and take that out of it. A lot of my cousins when I was younger, when we were all younger, wanted to look more like me, and they didn't know why, and they didn't tell me why, and so I didn't know why. And I realized later that it was because I look white and they don't. And, and they weren't doing that from a perspective of I want to look white. They were doing it from a perspective of I want to look beautiful. They were doing it from a perspective of I want people that I find attractive to find me attractive and date me, which in most cases means that I need to look white, because I went to a predominantly white school, and they went to a predominantly Indigenous school, and what's intriguing to me is Indigenous boys in these Indigenous middle schools wanted light-skinned girlfriends. And I laugh because it sounds really absurd to me. Not absurd, it sounds horrible to me. It's instilled so early, this definition of beauty, and how the definition of beauty is only white. Unless it's appropriating from other cultures, like with dreadlocks and hips and hoop earrings, and I can go on, because all of these white ideals of beauty, like the Kardashians, have taken all of these traits that aren't theirs. The other thing that I thought was interesting, I liked his definition of colorism, and I liked his definition of how to combat colorism by understanding that light people and dark people are two distinct racialized groups. I also appreciated how he defined colorist ideas by saying that they encourage transformation into white bodies. I hear a lot about this. Like I said, my cousins would do it and they didn't even know why. They were too young to know why. They weren't educated in race yet. And meanwhile, I had the privilege of not even understanding that I had all of these white ideals of beauty. I didn't need to know it, because I had it. Some of the facts that he shared were that white children attribute positivity with like white skin, lower GPAs are definitely in line with darker skin color. He mentioned how with women and girls even, the darker you are, the lower your self-esteem tends to be. With Black men or any men, the darker you are, the more time you spend behind bars. Darker students are twice as likely to be suspended. The list goes on and on. And I just think, it floors me that so much of this is subconscious. I knew teachers in my high school that were lovely people. They really had, they really thought they had the right intentions. They thought they were very open-minded and accepting and yada yada. But when it came down to it, they punished the very few people of color in my class harder. And they didn't even realize it. And I don't think that the majority of the white folks in my class did. So bringing this forward, what I'd like to take from this, sorry, my hand's getting tired. What I'd like to take from this is that I have I have every privilege in the world with my skin. But what else I could take from this, is how to interact with folks in the bridge. I look around and the majority of the students in the bridge are white or white passing, and I know that OMA and the JSRC and everybody included would like to see that change, because there are a lot of QPOC students on this campus, and so just keeping all of this in mind and keeping the way that I talk about beauty and the way that I reframe beauty in my mind to be less white and Eurocentric, I think would be a good step in starting to create the bridges like this more hospitable, more welcoming place for diverse students, for students of color. So yes, so thank you so much for this opportunity. Yes, thank you.